Tim, 2011, new year for UKIP. What are your hopes for this year?
Well, we're hoping that we can build on the successes that we got locally. Back in May, we got candidates who got 20%, Clive did in Stifford Clays, I got 15% here, and we hopefully now can show that after the change that we've got from the Conservatives, the change where we now have prisoners being given the right to vote, the change where we are now paying the European Union more money, the change that Ken Clarke is now letting prisoners out of prison early, the people didn't vote for that in May. They wanted a sort of change from Labour, but that meant putting law-abiding taxpayers first instead of the ne'er-do-wells that the Conservatives seem to be courting now.
Is that the change in UKIP? Since you've had success in non-Euro elections, you're much more confident about immediately talking about other issues other than Europe. Like, for example, you immediately went into spoke about law and order.
Yeah.
Is that the sort of cultural change that's occurred in UKIP?
Yeah, I mean, we have evolved from a single-issue party into a small government, direct democracy party. You know, we were one of the key policies we were contesting the local elections on in May is that big planning matters should be put to a public vote. We should decide where new houses are built and other developments. You know, this Lloyd Park business could be done by people petitioning to have a referendum on the issue. Same with that building on the Greenbelt. We should have the final say because it's our borough. All of these, the other parties, they don't care. You know, they don't care enough that they don't even turn up to the council meetings now. And I hope that people recognise in May that we need a different lot of councillors on the council. Business as usual is just doing the borough down, and we're offering the people the choice to get UKIP in, see how we do, and plus as well it'll be a hung council if we get UKIP on there. We're not looking to take the council because it's only a third of the seats up, but what we're looking to do there is to make sure that we get cooperation for the good of the borough and that we bring our perspective on, you know, democracy, so that we can have votes on local planning matters, so that we can go through the books and say, well, you know, we shouldn't be, you know, increasing or keeping the council's allowances as they are, shouldn't be spending so much on publicity and so forth, so that we can help people during these financial times when the cuts start to bite.
For all the internal matters that we can discuss politically, what people really concerned about, there are certain fundamentals, aren't there? For example, you can see a lot of bins and things like that. That's what people, these issues must come up time and time again.
It is. I mean, the tough choices have got to be made. But let's not forget, the government aren't making the tough choices. They're still spending £48 million a day on membership of the European Union. And yet people, you know, police stations across the borough are being closed. They're going on half-time. They're not making the decisions right for the people. They're rather feather their own nests and rely time and time again on the old usual slogans, oh, vote for Conservative because you don't want to let Labour back in, and Labour saying, oh, vote Labour so the Tories don't get back in. It's time people started voting for what they actually believe in. And if you believe in having more power, if you believe in lowering taxes, if you believe in actually having a government that governs for this country and for the whole of the country, then look to UKIP and give us a chance in May.
You must be greatly helped by the Daily Express's campaigns at the moment about getting Britain out of the EU.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the first national newspaper to say that we would be better off out of the European Union. And time again you see opinion polls where people say we want to leave, we want to withdraw, we want to govern ourselves, we want to keep the £48 million a day, we want to get rid of the regulations and the red tape that costs every man, woman and child £2,000 a year. Now when you put it in matters like that, it's a money issue. It's, you know, £2,000 is a lot of money, and we'd rather have that here, and we'd rather have that in our people's pockets instead of being spent in Brussels and wasted on the common agriculture policy and fraudulent, corrupt projects that the EU just hands out willy-nilly. We'd rather the money was spent here, and we'd rather that this country was free to govern itself.